今、世界の三大探偵と言われているエル、コエル、ドヌーブ。皆私です。私を探そうとする者は結構これに引っかかります。イチゴあげますから秘密にしておいてください。
さすがだな、龍崎。
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Anime with Alvin. Today, I'm going to be attempting to recreate the strawberry shortcake from Death Note. Now, the strawberry shortcake I'm making today might be a little bit different than the one you're thinking about. This is the Japanese style one, which starts with a little bit of butter mixed with some milk and heated in a microwave gently until just melted. The recipe I'm using today actually comes from a good friend of mine, Rie McClenny. This is her personal recipe for a strawberry shortcake, and she gave me the honor of using it for this episode. I'm doing a little trick here to get the parchment into the bottom of a pan because I don't have any parchment circles. This involves folding a piece of parchment paper in half 3 times. I promise I'm not making a paper airplane, even though it definitely looks like it. But after centering the tip in the middle and approximating the radius, I'm cutting around it and I'm unfolding the parchment circle, spraying the bottom of the pan with Pam tongue twister. And if I did this right, it should fit perfectly. Pretty good. Onto the cake batter itself. First, I'm starting by adding eggs straight from the chicken's butt, followed by some granulated sugar. And after that, I'm adding in some honey straight from the bee's butts. I don't actually know if it comes from the butt. Now I'm adding a heavy pinch of salt. I really personally enjoy a lot of salt in my desserts, and this is no different. After a couple of minutes of accelerated whisking, we now have creamy, beautiful golden ribbons. Now that's nice. I'm now sifting in cake flour. As you can see, I'm clearly spilling a little bit because that proves that I'm human. And if you're not spilling when you're baking, it's just baking. Once the cake flour has been folded in, it's now time to add the butter and the milk mixture. I believe adding it at the very end allows the batter to be silkier and smoother, although please feel free to correct me on that. I'm now transferring the batter slowly into the pre-prepared pans. A couple of love taps here and there just to make sure that any large air bubbles pop, and off into the oven you go. This one came out badly. I think the broiler turned on to preheat the oven and we didn't know that, so we have cake brulee. I'm gonna eat this later. With the magic of someone as talented as Kendall on the team, we managed to recreate another cake, perfectly baked this time. This smells good. I'm gonna take a picture with my phone. Look at all those air bubbles. Once the cake has cooled down completely, you can tell that it has deflated a little bit, which is totally fine. And to keep things stable during the assembly process, I like to drizzle a little bit of honey at the bottom of a cake turner, and then massage a piece of parchment paper right on top. Not gonna lie, pretty nervous to always flip a cake on my hand, but not bad. Ooh, this is the best part. It's like peeling the plastic off of a new TV. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. This cake clearly needs a haircut, so I'm gonna slowly but surely use a very, very long knife and evenly cut the top off of the cake's head. Wait, isn't that just decapitation? After decapitating the cake, I'm just gonna go and eat the head. Now that the cake has been turned upside down, I'm gonna take the same knife and now bisect it along its stomach. Wow, this is getting dark. The goal here is to use the cake turner as a way to rotate and get the most even cut possible. Once I've done my best, I'm flipping the bottom of the cake onto a cardboard round. This helps kind of hold the cake and allow you to move it around your workspace as needed. Here I am holding up the 2 halves of the cake. Usually the thicker one is going to be on the bottom because that's going to take more of the weight and compress down a little bit. For now, these go off to the side. Back to the stand mixer, we're going to now make the whipped cream filling or frosting. One thing that I really like about Asian style fruitcakes is that the frosting is not very heavy. Usually it's just whipped cream. In this mixer we have heavy cream, vanilla extract that I kind of eyeballed, powdered sugar, and a big pinch of salt. Like, whipped cream is great, but salted whipped cream that's something else. And this is my cake, so I'm gonna make it the way I want to. While that's going, I'm preparing the piping bags after cutting off a little bit from the tip and kind of eyeballing it. And after playing a game of, is this hole big enough? I'm putting in the pastry tip into the bottom of the piping bag. Now that I'm locked and loaded, I'm transferring the bag into is this a magic bullet? I'm transferring it into a cone-like vessel. This happened to be the closest one nearby. This is gonna make putting the cream into the bag a lot easier. I'm looking for soft peaks. Oh, that's a soft peak. After transferring as much whipped cream into this bag as I can, we are now ready for assembly. For this type of strawberry shortcake, normal strawberries are typically used, but I wanted to have a little bit of fun. We got these really beautiful Japanese strawberries. They're really pretty and they're amazing, but they're very expensive. These are probably $4 to $5 per berry. So as I'm trimming the tops, I'm literally trying to take off as little of the red as I can, because that's a lot of money right there. So what you see here is approximately $150 worth of strawberries. Absolutely not necessary at all, but this is my cake. Man, that's nice. And for the shape I'm aiming for the final cake to be, I'm cutting each strawberry in half in preparation for assembly. That's a nice cross section. Now, to begin assembly, I'm again using a little bit of honey to anchor the first slice of cake into the bottom of the turner. And to get the whipped cream as even as possible, I'm piping starting from the middle and working my weight outwards while rotating the cake turner. This creates a spiral shape that allows me to use an offset spatula to get this cream into a soft, even, beautiful bed for the strawberries, because they deserve it. For the strategy of placing my strawberries, I'm taking a quite simple approach, working my way clockwise and basically just making a clock. That's not a real strategy, I made it up. All right, the first layer of strawberries is done. I just ate $5. Instead of dolloping the whipped cream directly on top of the strawberries, I like to pipe in between. I think this helps make sure that the strawberries stay in place, eliminates the possibility of having air bubbles while frosting, and also makes for an easy turning of the spatula once more. This might seem like a lot of extra work just to make a simple strawberry shortcake, but for someone like me who cares a lot about presentation and visuals and how satisfying stuff is, I like to take this extra step. Here I am getting a head start on smoothing out the sides. I'm just keeping the spatula in place as vertically as I can and rotating the cake turner, not the spatula. I'm pretty focused on getting things lined up correctly. Cake decorating is not my forte, and honestly, it scares the crap out of me. So I just want to make sure that this is the best that I can make it. This looks like a big ice cream sandwich. Now that the top layer of cake has been set, the goal now is to use the whipped cream to sort of patch up any holes and add any additional cream so that we now can begin the frosting. So after filling the holes with my whipped cream, I'm sort of spreading it into a rough shield with enough room on every side of the cake for smoothing. Now this is the fun part. Using a bench scraper, I'm turning the cake turner while keeping this tool in place. And if you do this correctly, a smooth and beautiful cake shall emerge from the rough patch of whipped cream you have on this turner. A couple of gentle strokes here and there, a couple of touch-ups, and I'm calling it. This is as good as it's gonna get. The pastry tip broke. Need a way to get it back on. We are video producers, so we're gonna use gaff tape. Also, Kendall was not in the room when this happened, so shh, nobody tell her. She's only gonna see this when she watches this video. Here I am, piping little decorative shell shapes to the top of this cake as a decoration. Shout out to gaff tape. You're the best. And as the final touch to our strawberry shortcake, I'm placing as many of these beautiful strawberries on top of the cake as I physically can. I definitely didn't need to buy all those strawberries, but it's always good to have backup. After the final strawberry has been Tetrised in, we now present to you our version of the strawberry shortcake from Death Note. Not bad if I say so myself, but this needs to chill before we eat it. After the cake has set up in the fridge for about an hour or so, it's time to eat. But first, a little struggle as we transfer this cake, thank you Kendall, onto a more appropriate serving platter. The moment the knife penetrates the cake, you already can feel how soft and fluffy this cake is. When I cut cake for people, I cut big slices. And this is a big slice. And that cross section, it's pretty cool. Now that's a slice of cake. Please hold as we admire it for just a little bit longer. All right, I'm gonna eat it now. That's pretty good. The cake is fluffy, the cream is light but slightly salty, which contrasts really nicely with the cake. But I will say the star of the show is the strawberries. And yes, we did spend a lot of money to get some high quality ones, but to me this cake is about how everything works together. And typically this cake is seen as a celebration cake for birthdays or parties or anything. And I want to thank my friend Rie again for the recipe. This is such a wonderful cake, and I wish you could have been here to taste it, but I feed you a lot anyways when I visit you, so you should be okay. But for now, I think it's time to let the team finally eat this. I'm just gonna take a potato chip and eat it. I'm just gonna write a couple of names in this little harmless notebook of mine. I got a couple of people I got some beef with, you know. So I'm gonna make sure I write their names down. Nice and legible. Just stop watching, or you're next.